DWP says disabled people cannot spend on luxuries. You are not going to believe what I am about to tell you, and honestly, it is something that has left millions of people across the UK both angry and heartbroken. The Department for Work and Pensions, the very institution that is supposed to be supporting disabled people, has sparked outrage with the idea that those receiving disability benefits should not be spending their money on what they call luxuries. Yes, according to the way this is being framed, people with disabilities who are getting financial support are being told, either directly or indirectly, that their spending should be restricted only to the bare minimum of essentials, like food, rent, utilities or medicine, and nothing more. But let's pause for a moment and really ask ourselves what that actually means. Who gets to decide what is essential and what is a luxury? Who has the authority to say that one person is entitled to enjoy a holiday, a takeaway meal, or a bit of entertainment, while another person, simply because they rely on benefits, should not? It paints a picture of inequality that feels both cruel and dehumanizing, and that's exactly why so many disabled people are speaking up right now. Just imagine living with a disability that makes it difficult or even impossible to work full-time. Your days are often filled with challenges that most people will never understand. You are given financial support because society recognizes that you need help to live, but then you are told you shouldn't be spending that money on anything enjoyable, anything comforting, anything that makes life feel even a little brighter. Picture being told that a coffee from Starbucks is an unnecessary indulgence, or that the smartphone you rely on to contact carers, doctors, or even just family is too expensive and should not be part of your budget. Imagine someone saying to you that a holiday is frivolous, when for you it might be the only time in years that you get to breathe fresh air by the sea, experience a bit of joy, and recharge your mental health. This kind of thinking is deeply patronizing, and it reduces disabled people to less than human, as if their only role is to survive but never to live. The language being used around this issue is incredibly dangerous. Words like luxury, unnecessary, and wasteful might sound harmless when spoken in a political debate or written in a policy paper, but when applied to real lives, they have the power to strip people of dignity. For someone who is housebound, a Netflix subscription may not be a luxury. It might be the only way they escape isolation, the only way they can feel part of the world. For someone with mobility issues, a mobility scooter could be seen as extravagant to someone who has never needed one, but in reality, it is the difference between staying trapped at home and actually being able to participate in society. And yet, when politicians or officials carelessly toss around the word luxury, they paint a picture of disabled people as wasteful, greedy, or undeserving. That narrative feeds public suspicion, encourages judgmental glances, and fuels the idea that disabled people are somehow cheating the system if they dare to enjoy even the smallest comforts of life. Think about this for a second. When someone receives wages from a job, no one tells them how they are allowed to spend that money. They could blow it all on nights out, gadgets, clothes, or anything they choose, and society shrugs its shoulders because, well, that's their freedom. That's the whole point of money. It's meant to give you choice and control. But when it comes to disabled people receiving benefits, suddenly those freedoms vanish. Suddenly people feel entitled to scrutinize their purchases, to question why they bought a takeaway, or how they could afford a holiday, or why they own a gaming console. And here lies the painful double standard. Disabled people are being judged for enjoying the very same things that everyone else is allowed to enjoy without question. That is not equality. It is control dressed up as fairness. Let's look at real-world examples, because the stories disabled people are sharing highlight just how absurd and insulting this all is. One person shared that they bought a PlayStation console to help cope with the long, lonely days spent stuck at home due to their health, only to be accused online of misusing taxpayers' money. Another person with severe anxiety saved for months to go on a short holiday with a carer, and when they posted about it on social media, strangers attacked them, claiming that if they could afford a trip, they shouldn't be on benefits at all. Just stop and think about how cruel that mindset is. A holiday isn't just a frivolous treat. It can be a lifeline, a moment of peace, a rare chance to escape the relentless grind of daily struggle. Yet disabled people are constantly forced to defend the very same joys that everyone else sees as normal. The hypocrisy is even more glaring When we look at the people making these rules and judgments, politicians often claim expenses for items and perks that would absolutely be considered luxuries in the eyes of ordinary people. We've all seen the headlines about ministers charging thousands of pounds in travel, hotel stays, fancy meals, and even the occasional questionable purchase. And yet, these same individuals are comfortable lecturing disabled people about whether or not they should buy a cup of coffee or a takeaway. It is one rule for them and another rule for everyone else, and disabled people are the ones who pay the price. At the heart of this issue is the question of dignity. What does it mean to live with dignity? It means being treated as an equal, having autonomy over your own life, and being trusted to make choices. When officials and policies start labeling the normal joys of life as luxuries that disabled people cannot have, they are stripping away that dignity. They are reducing disabled people to numbers in a budget, forgetting that these are human beings with the same needs for love, joy, connection, and fulfillment as anyone else. Life is not meant to be a punishment. It is not enough to just scrape by, to simply exist and pay bills. Living means laughing, experiencing, and finding meaning, and every single person, regardless of disability, deserves that. The mental health toll of this rhetoric cannot be overstated. Living with a disability often comes with enormous stress, physical pain, and emotional exhaustion. Add to that the stigma of being judged for your spending, and it becomes unbearable. People need moments of relief, hobbies, entertainment, and socialization to stay mentally healthy. Take those away, and what's left is isolation, depression, and despair. When you tell someone that even the smallest pleasure is off limits because it's a luxury, you are not protecting them. You are crushing them. And let's not forget the financial reality. Disabled households are not living in luxury to begin with. In fact, studies have shown that disabled people face significantly higher costs just to manage daily life, special equipment, higher heating bills because of medical needs, transport costs to appointments, dietary requirements. These all add up. Many people are already cutting corners and sacrificing basics just to make ends meet. So when they finally treat themselves to something small, it's often after months of going without. To then be judged for that purchase is nothing short of cruel. So what should happen instead? The first step is changing the conversation. Instead of framing benefits as a burden or as money that must be policed, we need to recognize them as a tool of empowerment. Disability benefits are not charity. They are a right earned through the simple fact of being human. In a society that values fairness, the purpose of those benefits should be to allow people not only to survive, but to live with dignity, joy, and equality. That means yes, some of that money might go towards things politicians would call luxuries, but in reality, those things are essential parts of a meaningful life. We also need to ask ourselves why society is so quick to judge disabled people for their spending while completely ignoring larger issues of government waste, corporate greed, and political hypocrisy. Why is the focus always on the most vulnerable rather than the most powerful? Why do we punish those who have the least while excusing those who have the most? These are the questions that need to be asked loudly and repeatedly because they reveal the truth behind this narrative. It is not about fairness, it is about control. At the end of the day, disability benefits are not handouts. They are recognition of the extra barriers